Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at 28 roller coasters. We're looking at Six Flags Greatest Adventure, created by deathfearsnone, one of our Discord advanced builders and bronze patrons. Here they say, hey Johnny, after 8 long months of work, I'm finally ready to show off what I've been working on. Six Flags Great Adventure. This started as a ride spotlight that kind of grew. So this is my first ever park, so take it easy on me. Ha ha ha. Ride POVs should be track viewed in track view, except for these. We're gonna ride them how we want to ride them. I don't want to do all of them in track view. That doesn't showcase what the simulation should be, but we can do some of them in track view, certainly. Enjoy your ride on 28 roller coasters. Whew, whew. That might be a world record on the channel for a park spotlight. So, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Fasten your harnesses and get ready to ride some coasters. Welcome back, everyone. I don't know where the park entrance is. I was looking around, I couldn't find it. Normally on this map, it's back here. That has been changed. Now, I don't even know where to start. Literally, because I can't find the entrance. This is insanity. So 28 coasters. How good are they? That is to be determined. Is this going to be a oversaturation of coasters? Or is it going to be one of those less is more situations? Does having more coasters make your park more epic? I don't know. These are all questions we have to ask ourselves because we've never ridden this many. But with that said, I can already see a little bit of lacking in theming in certain areas between the pathworks and things. I don't want to rush the episode, but we have 28 coasters to ride. So with that said, we got to get started because let's just say they take 2 minutes each. We're looking at 60 minutes without including the amount of walking around. Frame rate's taking a bit of a hit, but it should be tolerable enough to ride the coasters. But as you can see, yeah, some of this areas, like this milkshake shack, it's a little bit lonely. It's a little bit lonely. There's no garden work or anything. So I definitely think you can move your theming up. Now, this is an advanced builder. I remember seeing lots of stuff from deathfearsnone so far. Let me just quickly take a gander at their workshop. Okay, I recognize some stuff from deathfearsnone workshop, but I thought they had competed in more contests and different things. I remember seeing their name come up more times than what their workshop's indicating. Nonetheless, they asked us to go easy on them. They're an advanced builder. This is their first ever park, but we also want to provide feedback and be critical. So I think we don't have to go on that dueling boomerang. We can see what it's doing there. So yeah, I mean, my biggest feedback is going to be fill. However, this is one of those situations where if you would have added any more, I probably would not have been able to feature this. In the case where I recently featured Frozen Coasters by Kitsch, which is to me the park of the year, it was barely able to get through that park spotlight, but he provided cheat engine 60 FPS coaster videos. Even if you did cheat engine coaster videos for all 28 coasters, I think that would be a little bit too much, to be honest. It'd just be a lot of file management for both of us. It'd be absolutely insane. So yeah, if you were to fill these areas with more and more theming, I don't think it would be possible to even ride these coasters, yet alone make it around the park. Ooh, this is nice. Looney Tunes down. So now this is what I would like to see from you in the future. This custom art, I'm hoping you made this stuff, but this is looking really good. And then you make this whole area themed to Looney Tunes. And wow, the Tasmanian Devil's amazing. And you try to focus the density of your park and make it a little bit more of like maybe 3 or 4 lands. Looney Tunes, some different stuff. Because you could definitely dress it up a lot more. But it's probably looking to be, from a first glimpse of what I saw in the B-roll, one of the coolest areas because of all the characters and stuff. Okay, so we're gonna have to start riding some coasters. Let's see how the coasters are. First impressions are everything. We have a wooden gnarler. There's a look at the stats if you want to see them. Let's get going. Wooden coaster, we're definitely going in seat view. Okay. Not the craziest wooden coaster. It's going to be hard to give feedback on these because there's 28 of them. But that lift definitely is, you can increase the angle of your lift hills. So I definitely would have done that, and that would have gotten us to the top faster. And the track is just a little bit drawn out. There's not a lot of organic intricacies. It's not weaving in and out. It's not turning in and around, and it's kind of very straight and narrow. Lots of bunny hills, and that's about it. Not a lot of banking or transitioning between those. Only like 3 or 4 turns total. Yeah, it's pretty plain, if I'm gonna be honest. Not the craziest. But we have plenty more. So let's see what... Oh, you got the same problem on the lift on this guy. What's going on here? So we have an inverted 2-seater. There's a look at the stats if you want to see them. Let's get on this one. Tame, but considering this is like the kiddie corner, I could see kids and teenagers going on that. Although I don't think kids are actually allowed to ride the two-seated inverter in this game. I think there's a height restriction or something like that. So even though, yeah, it's kind of tame. Only the teenagers and adults can go on it. With that said, I don't think they have the most exhilarating time on that. Definitely could have pushed it a little bit further, but we're in the Looney Tunes land. You got the kiddie rides, and now here we have the kiddie coaster. So here we go. This is the Tweetie Bird Wild Ride, and it is wait, Crazy One Looney Tunes? Is it car swapped? It is car swapped. What's it swapped for? Anubis. Interesting. You put like a Giga train on a kiddie coaster. Okay. I mean, for a kiddie coaster, it's super tame. I mean, you know, there's some kiddie coasters in like Cedar Point that are actually like a lot more extreme. You know, you could definitely speed it up and drop it more, add more bunny hills, airtime counts. It could be a little bit more intense. You don't have to be afraid to go a little bit hard on these simple kiddie tracks. But yeah, not a bad effort. I feel like I'm already going hard on you when you ask me not to, but it's also kind of like that's the gig, right? If there's something that I see needs improvement, we're gonna point out the flaws and explain exactly why it's not performing, and what can be done to improve. And whether or not you perceive that as negative or not is really up to you. It's within good intentions. So this guy's ripping around. It's cool. Star Loop. Woo! I like the little bit of theming that you did here, the style, the geometrical shapes on the boarding station, the custom supports. That's looking good. And even though it's a basic coaster, you've dressed it up and made it feel very Six Flags-y. I like that. And that's what I'm hoping to see from some of these other coasters going forward, because I don't think starting with Looney Lands was the best way to kick things off, to be honest. This is looking a lot better in terms of layout. It's all fenced in. It's on the water there. Track's looking more intricate. Yeah, and it seems like it has some banking. So this looks like a bit of improvement. Same issue with the lift, though. Or is that a launch? It is. So we're going to do track view on this. They did ask for a few track views. Let's check it out. Okay, that's much better overall. Let's take a look at some of these stats on here. I mean, G-forces are all looking good. There's 5 inversions on that, 2 airtime counts. The layout was pretty intricate. It did a lot more than the previous ones. The banking had a lot more banking, smoothing. The transitioning was pretty good. So the best one so far. Yeah, definitely. Let's keep hammering through them. Like I said, there's 28 of these bad boys, and they're improving. So that is good. Wonder Woman. Okay, nice. Now, you didn't really give any backstory or information. Like, I know there's a Wonder Woman coaster. Let me quickly look this up. Golden Lasso Steel Coaster in Texas. So, I mean, I guess you're taking some inspiration, because I did see like a Joker coaster. We're going to see probably a lot of inspiration, but I don't know if any of these are going to be recreations or not. But we're definitely, you know, seeing the hints of Six Flags coming in here for sure. So another wooden coaster that looks a lot more dynamic than our kitty corner coaster. There's a look at the stats if you want to see them. G-forces are all checking out. 5 airtime counts. That's looking good. And some good speeds. So let's head up on the lift. We're going to do seat view. And let's go. So I totally thought this was a wooden coaster based off the layout, but it's actually an RMC. For an RMC, I mean, it's feeling more like a wooden coaster for sure. It only had 1 inversion in there. It doesn't really utilize a lot of the RMC elements. I do think if you would have, whether it's a wooden coaster or an RMC, I do think it's a little bit tight. The transitioning was a little bit tight. You could spread those things out a little bit more, smooth it in between a little bit more, transition into the banking a little bit better. It was just a little bit rough and tight in some areas. But overall, a much more improved design from what we were seeing in Kitty Corner. And now that I'm looking at it, it kind of makes sense what we have over here, but they were looking very, very bare bones. So these are much more improved coasters from what we previously saw. So things are getting better, and we have lots and lots of coasters, some gigas. It even looks like a freaking strata. It's going higher than the observatory. Holy moly. Wow. Okay. Oh, look at this. Nice boarding sign. I don't know if you're making these yourselves. I would have liked to see more information on that. So we have the Harley Quinn. So there is a Harley Quinn coaster in Six Flags Great Adventure, New Jersey, and it is classified as a junior coaster that used to be known as Blackbeard's Lost Treasure Train, and it's a train coaster. So yeah, we're going to be taking a lot of theming and inspiration from Six Flags for sure. And I like this so far. I would like to know a little bit more backstory in your write-up, like whether or not you actually created these basic shape arts and stuff, the ones in Looney Land and all that, because it's looking really nice. This is a good way to dress up your coasters. This is going to be, it looks like a launch coaster with a train swap. The Barcast has been swapped out for a Giga Invincible train. Interesting choices. There's a look at the stats. 8 airtime counts. Very nice. Let's do this. All right, that's pretty nice. I like it. The lift is a little strange for me, the launch. It didn't get enough momentum off the launch, and I think you just needed to speed that up, and you just keep pushing it, pushing it. It might as well have been a lift because it was only going up at like 20 miles an hour, just a little bit faster than a chain lift. So a little bit strange because you could have actually done a forward launch or a lift. Felt a little bit off to me, something about it. And very long and drawn out. So we have DC Universe, a Superman coaster, and Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Oh, so that's this whole no, Wonder Woman's back there. Well, Joker's DC, Batman's there. Okay, it's a little confusing because it's spread out, but I'll take it. I like the signage that you put into this. The Joker looks really fun. Nice sign again. Oh wow, is that a 4D coaster? Really cool. Yeah, it's an X dimension. We're gonna have to go in sea view because we're gonna rotate here. Let's check it out. Okay, well, wow. Now I believe that there is a Joker. This might be a recreation, but slightly different. There's the Joker steel coaster located at Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags Great America, New England, Texas, and it's a 4D free spin coaster. It looks like a very similar layout, slightly different. Might be your own take on it, but not bad. Pretty solid. All right, let's go check out the Batman. Seen a few Batman coasters. This one's gonna be a single rail. Like the theming on it, the color scheme. Logos. You're definitely doing that part really well. Getting your color themes right, stations and signs. I like it. It's very solid stuff. Now for a single rail Basilisk, we definitely want to check this out in track view. 7 inversions on this guy. Let's go. Ooh, did you see the Batmobile? Interesting choice going with the single rail for the Batman coaster. Traditionally, the ones that I've seen have been inverted or winged, and it makes more sense because it simulates that flying feeling for Batman. The layout is a little bit crazy. Definitely could have used with a lot more smoothing. The single rail is one of the tougher ones to get right. With that, there's a lot of track to smooth. I think if you would have brought in the lift at about half that height, shortened the track a little bit, we could have gotten through that and had a just as good of an experience. And you would have had a lot less to smooth and get through. Because I do feel like there's a lot of areas that could use a lot more fine tuning in the smoothing department. But not a bad effort at all. Okay, did we go on this one? Mr. Freeze. It's a station for Mr. Freeze. Cool. So what do we have here? A launch drive tire that's using a lift. Train has been swapped out for a Tiamat, which I believe is a Hyper. I'm gonna go in seat view for this one. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as for getting through this, I realize we have barely made a dent in these coasters. So I'm going to have to give a little bit less of my thoughts overall, but I want to point out the little bits of theming. I do like the freeze area. You had some pretty interesting ideas here. So it's like you focus on certain things like the Batman coaster, the logo, the station, the color schemes, and you get a lot of things right. Mr. Freeze, the theming is there, but it's also falling a little bit short. Like this freeze cave is a great idea, but it's also not really hidden or dressed in or made it. You could have done so much more with the cave and the theming, and I guess where my overall point with this is if you take all the elements that you're doing well for each of these coasters in terms of the theming and presentation, you're doing so many coasters that you're not really pushing that last 10-20%, and usually the last 10 or 20% is or 90% of the work. You know, it's that fine tuning, that getting that rhythm in, getting all those elements in, and the exterior details, making sure that that queue looks nice and it's embedded and nestles in, and when you arrive to the area such as the DC universe, that the layout and the structure looks inviting and welcoming to the guests and guides you around the park. As I get here, you know, it is all these different DC characters in this area, but like this is the entrance, and but like, you know, you don't really see it coming down here, right? You see what I'm saying? If this is one of the main walkways, it's the layout is a little bit strange and everything's kind of just shoved in and placed about, and it makes the navigation really, really hard. And the theming is starting to blend together. I didn't even realize that there was a Mr. Freeze coaster here because it's so tightly wedged in between Batman and Joker. And while they all do fit together in that universe right there, I also feel like some of the elements are getting lost with the amount of, you know, that you're trying to cram in. So I guess my overall advice from what I've ridden so far to you would be, don't shoot for 28 coasters, shoot for 7 or 8 and get that theming, that polish, and that park layout just perfect. Have your DC area, have your DC food shops, your drink shops, sitting areas, and fence, you know, work on unique fencing, some unique Batman fencing with little bat emblems, every other chain link fence, you know, things like that. You could do all these little things, even if it's just a certain color fencing. You did a little bit here with Harley Quinn. You got that colored themed fencing, themed boarding stations, nice little layout, welcoming area, food court, you know, restaurants, boom. Work on those things and push them to the final limits. And then I think you're gonna have like this one area that we could ultimately say was one of the best DC areas that we've seen, but some of it's feeling unfinished to me, and some of the elements could use a little bit more polish. Hopefully that makes sense. I think that's going to be my biggest point of feedback for you, and it's probably going to apply to some of the other areas. And I don't know if I'm going to have anything else to say. Like, you know, I'm going to be repeating myself. The queues could use more work. Boarding station could be used a bit more polishing. Some of the coaster elements, and that is the grand thing about the community, the Discord community. If you're trying to improve a coaster, like some of the lift sections that we mentioned on some of the coasters, you know, you could get those things ironed out, upload the coaster as a blueprint, have someone like one of the legend builders or moderators or any of your friends in Discord, have them double check the coaster for you and see what you can improve before you go to the final stages of theming it, to help you finish off that last 10% and utilize that community. So when you get to the point where like, this is my first ever creation, go easy on me, you'll be more confident in the end, where you won't have to ask me to say that, or you won't have to say that or ask me to go easy on you, because you'll be be, you would have had a numerous amount of people in the community look over your creation every step of the way. So what do we have here? This is going to be insane. 111 miles per hour. Biggest drop, 124 meters. How big, how many feet is that? Wow. So that's over 400 feet. This is a strata coaster. Really is the Superman. It's very rare that you see a strata coaster on the channel unless Galcian made it. Wow, 9 airtime counts and 11 seconds of airtime. Wow, 3,000 meters in length. This is breaking records here. Strata coaster, highest airtime count that I've seen all year. That's insane, 111 miles per hour, and it's still green across the board and the G-forces are tolerable. All right, well, hats off. Let's give it a go. Wow. Wow. Okay, that was actually pretty exhilarating. I do think there's a few points where it could be smooth and transitioned a little bit better, but I like it. I mean, it's insane, it's gnarly, it's a video game. It was super intense, super extreme. It had some amazing height moments, some crazy perspectives. Pretty freaking awesome, gotta say. Definitely felt like Superman. Let's go. All right, getting lost in this scraggly maze of coasters and paths, and I definitely think that is going to be the main point of feedback throughout the whole park itself. Finding that central pathway and, you know, sectioning off the areas so they're clear and distinct. It's all kind of blurring together and blending together, and I don't know what is what. You know, this area is feeling a little bit fantasy, and then we're next to DC, and now we're entering steampunk. And there's no pathways or path theming or separation or fencing or entranceways and signages saying, hey, you're entering this area, or welcome to this area. It's a little bit like unorganized chaos, but sometimes that can be fun if it's done precisely. Not to take anything away from it, though. There's some really good elements here, especially this steampunk area. So I think what you need to just focus on is, you know, building out those areas, saying I'm dedicating this area to this, here's my pathway going around it, through it, leading to the next area, and how am I gonna, you know, merge that together so we don't get all these wiggly wonky paths. So something for you to think about going forward. But this is where I'm struggling with this creation, because it's doing a lot of things well in terms of theming. I don't know how many of these things you took from the workshop or how many you built yourself, but at least you're showing the ability to put them together yourself. And that's quite cool. So, I mean, we always, you know, let people to be designers. Maybe some people aren't very good at building, but they like to design. That's when you get to take other people's creations and combine them yourself to make your own design. So we have a winged launch cloud runner here. It's a steampunk coaster called Mecha. There's a look at the stats. And because it's a wing coaster, we're definitely going to want to sit in this. You swap the train. Wow. What's the point of using a winged coaster if you're going to take the wings away? Well, it's just a launch coaster now. Okay, I mean, oh, we're still going. I thought we were heading into the station. Even though it's a wing coaster that's doesn't have any wings anymore, I think that might have been one of my favorite coasters of this park so far. There's something about it with the theming, the amount of ups and downs, the weaving in and out, the near misses. It had that exhilarating factor of something that we look for in a coaster spotlight. 9 airtime counts. You could definitely feel it on the ride. 5 inversions, in and out, near misses. It's really cool, very entertaining. But I also had another thought come to mind, which is kind of an interesting thing with you, deathfearsnone, with your decision making. I see your playfulness. I can sense your playfulness in this. You know, you're trying all these different things, having fun with it, trying a little bit, taking inspiration from certain creations, existing Six Flags theme parks, but putting your own spin on it, changing the type of coaster, changing the type of track, and doing it your own way. And that is very innovative, and it's creative and fun. And then, you know, but you also have to ask yourself the question of when is it taking it too far, sort of speak. And what I mean by that is we were seeing a lot of interesting decision making. We had a launch drive tire coaster that ended up not using launch drive tires and it used a chain lift instead. There was no point in it being a launch drive tire coaster at that point. We see an RMC coaster that doesn't really have any RMC elements, and it's more of a wooden coaster. And we have a winged coaster that the wings have been stripped. And then the coasters, for what you're trying to design, whether it be a regular standard corkscrew coaster with a chain lift or a launched coaster, there are coasters designed to do that and do that better, but you're choosing something else to kind of be creative and take your own spin on it. But I don't necessarily think that is it's not necessarily being innovative as much as it is just being a little bit wonky. And sometimes it's good to be different, right? And I think when we have this submission box to create send in innovative coasters where people take exactly that, like a winged coaster, and swap with the car, but they use some of the elements that you would see in some of these coasters and you know, use them in interesting ways, like a mine train coaster that actually hangs upside down and suspends you, and basically turning a mine train coaster into a suspended coaster. Those are innovative coaster decisions where you take the train, or you take the track of a coaster and what's designed to do, and then you swap out the train and make it do something innovative. And we're kind of seeing that almost tried with all of your coasters. And so like a Batman coaster being simulated by inverted, flying, or suspended or winged. You know, you're going with a single rail. You're trying to do your own take on things, and I appreciate that. But I also think that there is a time and place just to play it safe. This is what it's known to do. This is what it's good to do, and it's going to fit this theme perfectly. I mean, it's good that you're having fun with the game, but also don't forget what the game does well. right? And that's kind of the moral of that rant. So this one actually looks pretty interesting as we were looking at it. I like the suspended aspect of a inverted mine train coaster. I have a hard time finding some of these boarding stations, so we're kind of birdie viewing it today. But we have a lot to get through, so this is a not so traditional spotlight here today. It's a Typhoon Barghest. Swapped out for a Gold Fever mine train. So, I mean, again, they could have just gone with the Gold Fever, but you might be doing that for the steampunk element of a steel track. So here, I believe it is innovative and fits your theming. So I do believe that was the right decision to go for. But it is almost funny that every single coaster, you're like, I have to do something custom to this. And I do appreciate that. I don't think there's any point that I'm trying to make that's a negative other than the one positive that there is a time and a place to use the correct coaster. So don't forget about those. All right, let's do this. Let's suspend ourselves on this mine train. Okay, I like the effort of inverting the coaster. Might have been a little bit crazy considering we're in a bucket seat and there's not much supports. We probably would have tipped right out at one point, or maybe a couple. But it's super fun that you're playing around with that concept, and I quite appreciate it. All right, let's continue on. What do we have here? Another hybrid Iron Horse. Cool. I like the custom supports. Quite big. Max drop of 57 meters there. Looks like it's got some speed to it. 4 inversions, 5 airtime counts. Okay, let's give it a go. All right, definitely utilizing those RMC elements a lot more than the last one. I definitely I like that one better, a little bit more. Pretty good. Okay, we have a couple little bonus guys over here, some boomerangs. I saw one somewhere else. If you guys are saying, oh, you missed one. Well, if we miss one today, that's quite okay. We have quite a lot of coasters. Which one was it? I don't even know. It's all blending in now. Could have swore I saw a boomerang somewhere in there. Maybe not. It's quite okay, though. There's the Superman. What do we have here? The Outlaw. Western-themed area. And this is, again, one of those issues where I have no idea how to get to this Western area. I guess this is it? Go through the train tracks? So as we come in here, There's no main central area, which makes it super confusing. How do we get to the coaster? Where are we going? Where does it take us? Where's the you know, the eating area? Where's the shopping area? Where's the mid games area? You know, where are we going and why? It's a little bit chaotic in that sense. And I think in today's episode we can skip the log flume, but there's a look at it. And where was that coaster queue? I'm not sure. We're gonna keep going from bird's eye view here. So the Outlaw is a Typhoon Infinite, swapped out for a Rage, a launched coaster. A little bit chaotic and wobbly at times. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the Maverick from Cedar Point in some way, some of the elements, but definitely a little bit crazy on the turning and the banking, and the smoothing could have been a little bit more. It's just a little bit radical, but I mean, with the stats all check out in terms of G-forces and inversions. Layout's pretty intertwined. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, ladies and gentlemen. There's a whole other section back here. Good googly boogly. Whoa, killer whale. What do we have here? A looping American corkscrew, a classic. And looks like you actually chose a Deegan, which is still a more traditional style corkscrew. Not the one that's meant to go with this coaster, but still in fact a corkscrew train. Another really long lift on this guy. Got some shops down there. I like the big blimp. All right, let's do this. There it is. We're gonna keep skipping along. We have plenty more to get through. We have a suspended coaster. Wait, flying stinger? No, that's a flying coaster. I thought I saw a suspended there. A flying coaster. Cool. A Seagull. All right, what else do we have here? The Octopus inverted four-seater. Let's look at the stats. Off we go. Let's go in the middle seat. Next up, the Great White F25 drive tire with an invincible Giga Train. Let's look at all the stats. I'm gonna fire this one down into test mode. We'll do track view on this guy. I know the creator asked for a few track views. Okay, I really quite like this one. This was fun. Had a lot of good elements, and I like the effort. It feels kind of like a Jaws experience. You did a good job with the animatronics added in and the big uses of the Jaws mouth there. We get the little sense of little ships and things sinking around us and little elements, appear elements. And this is what I was saying earlier on about, you know, pushing that last 10%. I think thematically, if you just kept on doing what you're doing here and keep pushing these elements and put some boats and a tugboat ripping around the water, a few more things there, like this could turn out to be a really fun kind of action experience. And I just feel like it's, you know, it was there. It just needs to go a little bit further and really sell the theming. Yeah, it had some action moments, even some little water splashdowns, animatronics, the near misses. Layout was fun. Definitely one of the better ones, in my opinion. All right, did we go on this big pink boy? It was the Octopus. Getting confused now. So many here. Another corkscrew. What do we have? The looping Deegan. Wait, is it going to be the American train? Ah, it's the Deacon. I literally thought you were going to swip the cars on the two corkscrews. Okay. Well, okay. Here we go. There's like the stats. 10 airtime counts, 5 seconds of airtime, but only one inversion on this corkscrew. Interesting. Phantom, there it is. What do we have back here? I think we can skip on this little kiddie coaster. Honestly, we did a few in the very beginning, and maybe by luck we started in Kitty Corner. They weren't the most exhilarating coasters. We could have probably passed on those ones considering there's 28 of them in this park. So we're definitely gonna skip on that one here. Here we go, Maxx Force. Nice little top hat stall there. See the theming again, it's almost there. We got this nice stand. We have some concrete elements here. It's looking like a raceway. You got the flags. The boarding station's got some nice little elements to it. It feels all a little bit thematic over here. It's just missing that little bit of exterior again, but pretty cool. Another F25 drive tire. Let's go. Very nice, I like it. Although I would be a little concerned about these, the maintenance on these drive tires, but I get it thematically. Did we get them all? Did we do it? I'm sure there might be one hidden in there. Someone's gonna be pointing at it in the comments. You missed that one. You missed one. Killer Whale, we got you. Well, we didn't miss any of the big boys. There might be a boomerang or two in there somewhere. But holy good googly moogly. This guy, I knew I saw a boomerang. Meow. What is it? we're not riding this one. Catwoman's Whip. I like that. The theming on that is fun. Nice. Nice. Okay. I think we got through 20 something coasters. That's quite crazy. That's going to be a first in the park spotlight history, but I also don't think it's really quite capable of you're doing that because our frame rate's not the best. Riding those coasters wasn't the smoothest. You know, when you get this many coasters at a park, it's bound to slow down the frame rate. Plus you're putting in flat rides, plus you're putting in theming. Now, if a legend builder in the community tried to do 28 coasters, I think Combat did something in the very, very early days of 14 to 18 coasters or something in what was it called? It's a Wombat World or something. That park ran at like 5 FPS, and it was a bit rough to get through, but all the coasters had over the top theming, right? And it was about half the amount of coasters than this one, and it ran even worse than this park because the theming was there on every single one. And as we were talking about the feedback, if you were actually to take my points of advice and theming up these areas, theming up all the layout and all that stuff, the main strips and the plazas and the food courts and the extra theming necessary on some of the creations, this thing would end up being impossible to run. And that's when you get into that kind of focusing on less, but really going for quality over quantity. And I think this is a quantity over quality situation, but the potential of the quality is there. We can see the effort of the theming gone into a lot of these creations with the signages out front, the color schemes, the creativity gone into certain choices. I mean, coaster enthusiasts might be choking up over some of the decision making on some of the coasters, whether it be the layout versus what kind of a coaster it is. Some of the corkscrews weren't necessarily doing traditional corkscrew things, but you're not going for traditional and you're trying to be creative, and that's what the point of a video game is. So I don't really see anything wrong with that. It's trying to innovate, recreate the wheel. But sometimes we don't need to do that either. And I think sometimes just getting a really solid corkscrew coaster with traditional loops and all the traditional elements, it's leaving the train the way it's supposed to be, and then coming up with a theme and really nailing that cue and that thematic entrance, the signage, the colors, and really hitting that scheme. That's what makes it pop, and then creating its own place where it stands out and doesn't mesh in with 5 other coasters. Selling the importance of a coaster, tucked off in a corner and setting this whole area just for that shows how important it is, and it makes it stand out. So there's something to be said about just keeping it clean, keeping it crisp and keeping it simple, but really pushing the quality aspect. And I could see a lot of that has been started here. You just got a little lost along the way. And this being one of your first ever parks, you get to this point where you're building, and you're learning these things as you go. So hopefully what you can do is take what you learned from this, take the feedback that I was given from this, and any additional feedback from the the viewers who leave comments down below. Did we miss this wooden coaster? Gold Rusher. No, I think we got that one. No, I'm not sure we did. That one actually looks pretty decent though. Maybe we got it. It's all a blur now. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, taking all that critical feedback and then try to go for what you did here, but a smaller in scope. Maybe go for 8 coasters. Pick some of your favorite themes, whether it be DC, steampunk, or like tropical. A couple of the themes that you did here, and really try to get that layout down. Find where you want your center of your path to be, where you want your sections to be, how you want to get to those sections, where you want to space the coasters out, give a lot of breathing room for those, and then fill in between, and then try to really push the quality bar on all of your coasters. If some of the coasters that you're trying to innovate, if you're come up with a really cool idea, make sure you get some feedback on Discord about the layout and the smoothness, and ride it a few times, get a couple other people to ride it, then push the theming and keep pushing it until you think where it needs to be, and then move on to the next one in that section. Get one part of your park down perfectly, and then get a little bit of feedback on that, and move on to the last 2, and then see where you go from there. I think there's a lot of fun aspects to this one, and we'll probably never ever see 28 coasters in another park again. In order to really capture a perfect theme park, I don't think you can possibly even shoot for that many coasters in Planet Coaster currently. But with that said, that's why I really like this episode, because it's fun. There's so many coasters, there's so much back to back. The quality of them was pretty good. Some were good, some were average, some definitely needed some work. So I do think with that, you got a lot of practice here. You practice, fine tune that, and shoot for quality over quantity next time. And I would love to see what you can do next. Death fears none. So quite a fun creation overall, and I think you did a lot of things right. I've seen a lot of newer builders, this is for the first time creation, make a lot more mistakes, and and with your being a first time creation, I see a lot more potential with the theming and all the compliments that I gave you throughout this. It's really showing what you're capable of, and even just like the layouts that you have here, certain things that you've done. If you just keep doing that, keep pushing that, you're going to make some really spectacular areas. And I think that is one of the beginner pitfalls, is being so used to games like RCT2 or older games where you can get a lot done in a short amount of time, and you expect yourself to make all of this stuff. And in Planet Coaster, that's not the reality. You have to spend a long time in one area before you can move on. And that's just the way the game works. Yeah, you're never going to get a lot of quantity out of this game unless you rush it. So take your time in the future. Death fears none. Shoot a little bit smaller, but a fun creation here today. What did you guys think? Leave your comments down below. That was 28 roller coasters themed around and inspired by Six Flags Greatest Adventure. Boom. And that's going to do it for me in today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.